right, and welcome to the Rabyd Nation. All of you here, welcome to the Rabyd Atheist channel. I'm your host, Ed Rabyd, a former pastor turned atheist, now compassionate anti-theist. Welcome to my channel, and welcome one and all. This is Deconversion Hangout. As such, I'm here mostly to talk deconversion, the issues that are faced by people deconverting, the issues that lead to deconversion, to be a support stream for those of you that may be deconverting and need somebody to at least talk to. I'm no expert, I'm no psychologist, but I have been deconverting from Christianity for 10 years. and so I still face my issues. And so I created this stream as kind of a way to support all that. And so there are a few rules, though. You have to be a subscriber for at least 20 minutes to participate in the comments. That's kind of get rid of the drive-bys. And, I have no problem talking with theists during Deconversion Hangout and answering questions. It's quite another matter to deal with claims and verses of scripture being quoted at me like they're magic spells, things like that. So, so there we go. There is a goal in chat. That's just my kind of polite, fun way of asking for money to continue to support my work and continue to support what I do, support the stream. So, if we reach that goal, whatever hat has been chosen by the poll, I'll wear for the rest of the stream. So there you go. And that's just a kind of a fun little way of doing that. And so let's grab a quick roll call. John from Holland was here first. Stormburn is here. I'll deal with some of Stormburn's thoughts here in momentarily. I just want to get a roll call really quick. Martin is here. Fred is here. Rimmer is here. Cranky is here. Blossom is here. Azho is here. Good to see Azho. The mighty Philbert, the wonderful composer of our theme song, is here as well. Yeah, well, there we go. All right, I think that's it. All right, I did want to. Last stream kind of ended on a interesting note because you can't really see it because it happened so late in the stream. But Real Seeker kind of showed up and kind of played the troll a little bit, and him and Stormburn got into a little bit of things afterwards in the comments section, and Stormburn asked if I deleted his comments or did he do it. He did it. I in general don't see the reason I don't delete theist comments often, like unless they're like truly derogatory and just calling names and stuff like that. Yeah, I'll pull the comment, and if people do it too much, then I often I'll ban them. There's several people that have been banned from my channel and commenting here. So I don't know, the list is up to like 15 now. And usually it's people that are just being trolls or pricks or whatever. There's some good trolls out there, don't get me wrong. I don't decry all trolls. That would be prejudicial, but and I do a little trolling myself from time to time. So but in general, I don't delete comments because when it comes to theists and apologists, they kind of prove their point for me. They prove my point. Real Seeker was a good example of somebody who you're trying to have an honest dialogue with. Well, who are the scholars that don't like Habermas's Volume 3? And you have to pry the names out of him. He doesn't give them to you. Then he gives you some names, and then he wants to laugh about how he thinks he trolled you and whose names he gives. And there's a whole bunch of other things going on that. I'll probably deal with more of that on Saturday, but I just want to let you know I have rules for different streams. This one is pretty strict because I'm trying to I want people to be able to open up about their deconversion experiences and not be harassed. And so that's why the long 20-minute, you got to be a subscriber thing. But in general, I don't remove comments because they tend to prove my point. And Real Seeker proved a lot of points to me. Like his last few comments are like, okay, buddy, you just don't want to be fact checked. So yeah, so he's there. So that's kind of I took screenshots of that conversation, so I still have a record of it. And I got to get better at that. Like when I see conversations that are interesting, I need to really screenshot everything. But I don't know how that works. But yes, Gary Habermas is not what he thinks he is. Can't wait to find out data. Doesn't fit your point. Well, it's also a question of him not providing his own data either. He's continued to make this 90% of scholarly consensus claim for a long time, and he still has yet to provide data to back it up. So it's still there. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't care. Cranky, you're probably right about that, because as long as he can keep the people that supports him in his camp, then he's fine. Yeah, yeah, yeah. His Michigan State um, thesis is like a resurrection of Jesus, a rational inquiry. That's his title. So that's what he has a thesis on in Violet, Michigan State. So, and that's where supposedly the minimal facts was born at that point. So, um, yeah, you can denounce any deity you want here, even Fangs. Fangs doesn't care. Fangs doesn't care. Oh. Oh my goodness. Let's see. To say something about deconstruction topic, it's remarkable how disseminated of terms you see at apologetics compared to actual scholarship. Yes. So yes, that's a kind of apologetics likes to keep things ambiguous. They like to keep it emotionally and fluffy. And it was one of my criticisms when I was a Christian with apologetics, and why I tried to be a better one myself, is like I just didn't see back then how anybody could like consider some of the stuff good arguments and good thing, and the data was ambiguous, and there were all these traditional trope apologetics arguments that when you looked up to see what the informational source of them was, it was questionable at best, but they like to keep things in the dark. Okay. And like I don't think, like Rimmer says, we don't need to cheat, so it's like they have to cheat. Thanks, Fred. Um, I don't know. I don't know, Fred. It's because you love me, and I love you too, Fred. Hey, Kyle, good to see you. Yeah, it is kind of linguistic bullshittery, and that's what I think some people don't like when you and I, Cranky, point out the fact that a lot of apologetics is what keeps a lot of people in the faith even to this day. But it's like when you get cut past the bullshit, there's not much there. And so, yeah, yeah, he buttholed. Okay, yes. Yeah, he was kind of an asshole at the end. Yeah. And the funny thing about that, Rimmer, is both me and Paul were there. Like, if he had been listening in all the time, Paulogia stopped by that stream. And I'm always thankful when he stops by, because, he doesn't have to. I have no obligations to him, and he has no obligations to me. So it's, it's like, you could have said something and asked us the question, but no, you had to kind of like, you're all a bunch of idiots, and away we go. So, talking about how inconsistently the term sacred has been applied and is likely a modern conception. Yes. Yeah, it was a fun time with RS. Yes. Mindset video about slavery. So funny, the pretzels. Well, atheists have no basis to condemn it, but the Bible does come in. Okay. I'm not going to ban Stormburn. No, I'm not going to do that. So the Seeker by the Who is a song of okay, there we go. Yes. Fact checking? How anti-tribalist? Yes, it's anti-tribalism. Yes. I should use the remove more often, but once it's out there, it's out there. Yeah, it's kind of, yeah. Yeah, yeah. uh, yeah. See you Saturday, Fred. I know life intrudes with you, but I'm glad you stopped by. I appreciate it. You're a comment thread troll big time. You do that all the time. I can see that with you, Asho, though. Comments never go deep, though. Yeah. Like Joel Reed's Bible approach to biblical morality. He just takes the biblical pro-slavery position and say Christians have no basis to disagree. Yeah, when it comes to the slavery, I Mind Shift, I saw that video by Mind Shift, and I watch Mind Shift every once in a while. And sometimes what I'll do at work is I'll just like binge him and like I'll just catch up listening in my earpiece, because Walmart has made it official that you can have one ear plugged with whatever music you want to listen to, as long as it doesn't interfere with your job. And basically it's acquiescing to the fact that 90% of the associates do it. And if we crack down upon it, we'd lose most of our workforce. So, so there's that. But yes, so whenever I deal with Christians on the pro-slavery thing, it's like, I'm just reading back to you what the Bible says. Do you have a problem with the that position? And like, well, that's an awful position. Well, I'm taking it right from the Bible. I think that's probably, Stormbird, I probably think that's the best thing to do, is just pull out the verses and say, this is what the Bible says. And excuse me. And then just take the position. This is what the Bible position is. I'm just taking the position on the Bible. Don't you back biblical morality? And it's funny how they scramble then. Like I've only heard one honest pastor, who basically meant, yeah, and so he's okay with slavery because of it. It's like, I'm okay with it, because the Bible's okay with it. And it's like, okay. Yes, for the Bible tells me so. Yes. Yeah, I don't know if they know what that is sometimes. Like internal critique. Like when I was a Christian, I had a hard time with this too, because, and this is a deconversion issue for me, because now I know what the internal critiques are inside of Christianity, and they're minimal. I don't know. There's more of a tradition that everybody follows when it comes to Christianity and Bible. Even Bible thumpers don't follow the Bible all the time. But the idea of an internal critique, of looking at it yourself and going, yeah, that's not really a good thing. Yeah, it doesn't exist that much. Those that become internal critics of Christianity usually leave Christianity. So, hey, Michael. Yes, the Fluffalo Fangs is very active. And a lot of incredulity that the writer could present multiple perspectives that weren't even his own. I know. There's an old quote, I can't even remember who may have claimed to have made it, like, the sign of an educated or discerning mind is the ability to engage different ideas without necessarily, and do it fairly without, necessarily holding those positions. That's something that I don't think people in religion can do very well. Hey, Native, good to see you. Today about the Bible says so. Most funny one I've seen, probably. Yeah, I'll have to look at it. I keep abreast of some YouTubers because I can't do all of them anymore. Like, there's too many, which is a good thing. The atheist space has grown, and I'm cool with that. Like, I have my own thing that I do. I'm not in competition with all these people. I'm more in competition with the apologists than I am with my fellow atheists. So, and that's a bigger fight. Definitely still outnumbered there. Yes, internal critique hurts. Yes, even Bible thumpers eat bacon and shellfish, and they'll run to their New Testament real quick and say we're under grace and not under the law anymore. Well, then why are we doing all this other crap? Okay. Yeah, there you go. Exactly what it says earlier. Someone said he came to end the law, and I said, well, he didn't come to abolish, but to fulfill them. Yes. Like, why do they think that fulfill means? There's no way to believe that unless you're quote mining, like, oops, it doesn't say anything about not abolish. Yeah, this is one of the things with Jesus that that is controversial about that passage, but the only reason it's controversial is it's crystal clear, but people want to make it vague. But Jesus basically says you're not supposed to get rid of the law. Okay. And so because I fulfill the law, I'm not here to abolish it. Well, if I'm not here to get rid of it, then Christians should be following the law. And Paul was wrong. See, that's the real problem, because if you take that internal critique far enough in the Bible, then Jesus would have had a large problem with Paul, okay, and trying to get rid of circumcision and all that stuff for new believers. Like, I honestly, genuinely, if Jesus did actually exist and you take him as teaching what he taught, I think him and Paul would have butted heads just as much as Peter and James butted heads with Paul. I think that's the real problem, because when you read Paul is like dumping the law. He's like abolishing the law for Gentile believers, and Gentile believers love that. They cling to that shit because then it allows them to pretty much do anything they want. But they don't, it really comes down to interpretation, and that's the largest problem with biblical morality, is like, you can interpret it multiple ways because nobody's really clear on what the authority actually says, even internally. So, yeah. Honestly, arguing with theists using their belief system is the worst approach. Just stick, ain't real and it's immoral. I think that's also valid. It depends on the theist. Like, there are conscientious theists, Kyle, that will listen to you about how, like, if you run into a theist that's like a liberal or at least moderate, they will hear you out on pretty much almost all issues. But yeah, you can stick with either approach works. I'm not one of those that either ors approaches. Like, every person's different, and what's going to work for them is going to work for them, or you're going to have to talk to them. So there you go. I think we run into issues of supposing that the Bible is for or against X as a whole, rather than often containing contradictory opinions. But there's now abolitionism in the Bible. Yeah, so there might be. Yeah, there's no. Yeah, you're not getting rid of slavery, for instance. Yes, I get what you're saying. The internal critique from the outside often ignores the biases and indoctrinations. Correct. Yeah, Matthew's Jesus and Paul's Jesus would not get along. Yes, I agree with that, Eric, because it's when you look at Jesus's words on the law and you look at Paul's words on the law, you get two very different viewpoints. And I think the two of them would have absolutely butted heads. Yeah. Yes, he was. I mean, Jesus is very clear about the law. Like, I've not come to abolish it. I've not come to get rid of it. I've come to fulfill it. And in fulfilling it, he's saying it's good. So, if that's what he's doing, then when Paul comes along, like, you have the same internal problem between James and Paul. Like, they literally quote Abraham, both of them, and one of them says he was justified by grace, not works. And the other one says he was justified by works and not grace. And they literally contradict each other. And you have literally reams of literature killing several forests of books and theological seminaries trying to figure out why both of them are right. Okay. So, but Jesus and Paul would have butted heads. So, if you same Jesus as the Jerusalem group, yes, he did not. He had his own version. Like, you see this in Paul, that he has his very own version of Jesus Christ, which is not surprising. Like, I think Apologia did a video on the different sects in early Christianity. There were a lot of them. Like, there was disagreement about who Jesus was almost immediately. So forget the resurrection. Who Jesus was he man, God, man, some sort of combination weirdo thing in between? Yeah. Who Jesus was definitely one of those things that they argued about almost immediately. So, and it ended up, you had heresies and schisms and councils to decide the issue and blah, blah, blah over the next 3-4 centuries. So, yes. Or was Jesus anti-pope? Probably. I don't know. I don't know if he liked the Pope. It's hard to tell. Yes, the law is also supposed to be forever according to the Old Testament. So Jesus couldn't be going out there and saying, I'm getting rid of the law if the law is supposed to be forever. Like, he can't go out there and do that and still claim to have any messianic claims. And Paul completely ignores that part. Okay, he just kind of like, yeah. With sincerity of heart, just as you obey Christ. That's probably one of the more damning ones. I think the one in 1 Corinthians is even more damning. So, my experience, some believers use the Bible as a weapon. They interpret the Bible in a way that supports their view. Yes. Yeah, it's interpretation. This is why you have so many denominations. And as somebody with a theological studies degree, I could tell you the number of different ways of looking at God and various Christian issues is legion. So differences of opinion are so common that the idea that there's one universal biblical morality is kind of undercut by that very idea. So we're not enforcing the law about the rebellious, disrespectful son. Yes, he did. So, I mean, Jesus uses the law. Like, he debates the law, but he uses it, so. Yes, probably. I've said it. The one thing about Life of Brian that's probably accurate to the time period is how many people were running around claiming to be the Messiah. Like, that part is probably very true. Okay, so, yeah, slaves obey your earthly masters in everything you do. Not when eyes on you and curry their favor, but with sincerity of heart and reverence to the Lord. Yes. So, yes. Read a few stories for fun. Translation. I don't know. There's a comic book version of the Bible, the Action Bible for kids. I mean, I've seen it. One of my family members has it, and so I've seen it. But yes, if you're wanting something that is full of interpretation, like the Living Bible is a good one. I remember reading the Living Bible and going, "Oh my God, they have completely changed the meaning of this shit." So it's a lot of fun. It's true part of the New Testament is the part about Jesus comes to a pit against brother. 2,000 years of people killing each other. Yeah, Ron. That's very valid. Very, very valid. You see, you're running into a theory here, mighty Philbert, about the Gospels. Like Paul, we have 7 genuine, like even secular scholars feel that Paul was a real person, and that he wrote like the 7 books attributed to him. The Gospels come after those, in my opinion. Like, I think all the Gospels have a late date. So yes, there is a theory out there that a lot of the Gospels are written in response to Pauline theology, particularly Matthew. Like, Matthew is definitely written by a Jewish person who has an issue with the Judaizers, but he also seems to have an issue with Paul's Jesus for sure. But yes, you could argue, I think there is an argument out there probably about how the Gospels being written after the writings of Paul, because even most conservative scholars will admit that a lot of the Gospels are written after Paul writes and lives. So are they responding to Paul? Now there's an interesting question that deserves a little bit more research, I think. So, but that's me speaking. So Jesus was a hippie, maybe, possibly. The 1970s gospel movies were more correct then, probably. Yes, KJV is painful. Ryan claimed not to be the Messiah. Other people did it for him. Yes, and that's probably also very historically accurate for a lot of the Messianic claims too. But there's a lot of people running around claiming to be a Messiah, and a lot of people running around claiming this person's a Messiah, that person's a Messiah. The Life of Brian had a few things quite correct. So, and then they made fun of it, which was even better. So, yeah, there's a brick Bible thing that's there too. Yeah. Yes, That's a deconversion issue, Coyote. You're in the right place for that one. I look back at my ministry. This is why I'm in therapy, Coyote, because some of the advice I gave based on the Bible, some of the stuff I said from the pulpit, it's the deconversion guilt is a real thing, and you have to fight your way through it. Like, and I'm still in therapy, and I still talk to my therapist probably at least once a month, and the 2 times we meet every month. This comes up often. Like, I don't, there are probably some women who stayed in their marriages far too long because, what the Bible says about staying with an unbelieving spouse, as long as they're content with living with you. Well, this guy's beating me, it's like, well, you probably should, my practical advice about this, call the cops, now and get the hell out of there. But back then it was like, I know what the Bible says and I have to reiterate the Bible. So yes, I understand the guilt about that stuff. Yeah, it's not a fun thing to deal with. So yes, I get you want to hang your head, but yes. Like a version of Robinson Crusoe has been made palatable for children. Yes, it is. The Luther Bible is the only proper translation. Yes, it's done in German. You would say so, Michael. Came up with the Living Bible did it to make it readable version for children. Yes, he did. Invented creation. It might. Yes, that's actually a common view that Paul is the one who invented Christianity, and that Jesus and the other Jewish apostles, if whoever they were, would not have condoned it. So, yeah. Yes, Richard Carrier. Jesus wasn't a hippie. He was the original Christian nationalist. I don't know about that. Because Jesus's teachings, he doesn't seem to be interested in actual political power. I think he preferred religious power sometimes. I can see where Christian nationalism derives from some of his teachings, but Jesus, like, I don't give a damn what Caesar does. So so Paul was dead at 60. Mark could be 65. Yeah, I mean, all the Gospels are probably after Paul, skeptic, and welcome. It's the issue is, like, Mark is close enough to the death of Paul. I could see where Mark might not be a response to what Paul said, but I can damn well see Matthew being one. Like Matthew's Jesus, like somebody commented earlier, Matthew's Jesus and Paul's Jesus are very different Jesuses. Okay. And I think you might make a case that Matthew was written as a response to Paul. It's quite possible in some ways. The original Roaring were wild for JC and his pals. The Great Jesus, a retelling of Great Gatsby. That might be it too. Yeah, it was like the Living Bible. I remember when the Living Bible came out, there was a lot of criticism of it, but the whole idea behind the Living Bible is to make it readable, to make it a more enjoyable story. They openly admit, like, they're taking liberties with the text. So, I apologized to anybody? Probably is what you're asking. A couple. I haven't sent a letter because I don't keep track of people as much as I used to. Like, a lot of my connections in Christianity are pretty much severed at this point. So I've talked at length with people about what I regret and what I don't, but I also hold on to a few things. Like, there's a few people that I won't forgive, and people go, well, that's bad for you. Like, no, there's a difference between having animosity and hatred about a situation, and, like, I'm not going to give you a free out just because you don't like something, So there you go. I don't like what you did there, so I don't have to acknowledge it. I don't have to let it rule my life or the emotions rule my life, but I don't have to forgive you either. So, like, until you come to me with an I'm sorry on some things, like, there's a lot of things I feel are a two-way street with those things. Like, if you're in Christianity, like, I can't help what some people do with the advice, but at the same time, I wish I hadn't given the advice at the same time. So there's a line that my therapist is trying to get me to see, I think, where I can get past the bullshit while at the same time maintaining my own sense of self-worth. Because that's usually what this attacks, is like I'm useless kind of thing. Funny how little has changed over the century. Christians' approach and reactions to trucks with Christians. That is true. But I think he's far from the mainline scholarship, even in the critical and even atheist scholarship camp. Yeah, he is to a certain extent. But he's also, like, when you talk about scholarly opinions, like, you're going to have them all over the place. So let's see. I have had no idea the last few weeks of the importance of the text, having read so little Greek New Testament and dragged on with the villainous Textus Receptus. Okay, there we go. All right, there we go. Hey, thanks, Triple E. Who got that? Alex Raven got the gifted membership. So congratulations, Alex. You can use the emojis. Fangs is everywhere. Clothing, sheep and wolves clothing was okay. Yes. Oh my goodness. Samaritans is identical. Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that Jesus didn't outgroup people. He certainly absolutely did. Like, he called Gentiles dogs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't see in Jesus's teachings like this desire for political power and forcing his will on others. Like, there's a part of Jesus, like, he's very content with being a religious leader. Like, his political pull doesn't matter to him as much. So, and of course, I'm speaking hypothetically, because it's also quite possible that Jesus didn't exist, and this is a character made up by Christians. So we'll have to figure that. So I've been letting this box. He has started running laps around the living room today. I have a sneaking suspicion he has cranky elder gods drugs. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, oh my goodness. Yes. Fangs. You gotta watch Fangs. Okay. Like, because, Fangs will like take your stash and give it to somebody else. He doesn't do drugs himself, very often. So he's learned the dangers of that. Like, if he drinks alcohol, he tends to go so fast he travels back in time, and then he and yeah. So there you go. See you later, Martin. Good to have you with us. And it is that the ancient Greek manuscripts were less trustworthy than later Latin translations. Still wasn't defending the KJV. No. Was it difficult in finding a therapist who would hear out your secular opinions? Did you have to go through a few and try to use platitude, or did you get it right the first time? Because I went through the Clergy Project Blossom and Recovery from Religion, I specifically requested an atheist therapist and got it on the first try. My therapist is an atheist. She has deconverted herself from Christianity. So I got lucky, very, very fortunate. And because we've developed this long-term relationship, she knows a lot about me. And she knows a lot of my history and some of the stuff I struggle with to this day. So yes, I got lucky, Blossom. It was one of those lucky moments. And so, but the Clergy Project is the one that sent me to her. And what got interesting is, like, Clergy Project will pay for like 12 sessions. And I got to the like 13th, 14th session, and there's still no talk about billing. And then finally she said something. She's like, don't worry, I'm taking you pro bono. Like, you have a very interesting case and you have a lot of issues to de-ravel. And she says, I've got funding that I can tap into to do a pro bono, and I'm going to do it with you. So I have been very lucky in my therapy. And that's why I tell people, make sure you go through Recovery from Religion or something similar, and specifically request, you don't want somebody with Christian counseling stuff or that kind of crap. So you have to be very careful for that. So, but yes, I got an atheist therapist right away, and one that was very generous to me, and she is, you know, she's a professional friend at this point that gives me every couple of weeks, she gives me her unbiased opinion about where I'm at. And I tell her, and mostly we're trying to discuss my emotions because I have a lot of trouble expressing them being autistic. I'm still struggling with expressing my emotions properly. So, is it true that the term Samaritan in Aramaic became common parlance in the mid first century after Jesus' death before Mark is written? It's possible. The Samaritans as a group go back quite a ways, though, Eric. So it's quite possible that the animosity between the Samaritans and the Jews could fit in the biblical, like the gospel time frame. It's quite possible, I think. The problem with looking back is you don't have a reason to look back at these things sometimes until they get big, and that's kind of the case with Christianity in the first century. So he thought he could finish the Bible translation in a little more than a year. It wound up taking almost 28. There were two Jesus on the same cutter I was on when I was a CG. Okay, there you go. Yes, I got help from the Clergy Project. They also gave me career counseling advice, which that part I will say they need to work on. The real problem with being a former pastor, Stormburn, and deconverting and then trying to find a job. Okay, your skill set, if that's all you know how to do, is very limited. And there's not like pastoring is the only thing, like being a religious leader, there's certain things that draws in a certain type of person that has those skills, and they're just not as valuable outside of religion. So pastors are often trapped by their religion, but also their career choices. That's what makes it so difficult to get out of it as a pastor. It's why I've told people to, you reach out, but the career counseling I think needs some work. It's something that I've thought about doing some work on myself. Like, how do you counsel religious leaders to get a different career? It's almost like you have to tell them to start over. And that's why some of them in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, like you got ministers that will not get out because they can't afford to get out. So, care, but the words put in his mouth are exactly about Samaritans that are Jews. That is totally implausible that we're even one good Samaritan. Yes. Yeah, I mean, he's a politician, but he's politician about his own kingdom. I don't think he gives a damn about the other political systems around him. So, because his idea was to take over with his own. It was common and well understood by the time of the first century. Okay, yeah, that's probably so. I've forgiven myself a lot of things, John. Uh, the problem I have now, John, is more personal. Like my deconversion issues are forgiving myself for what I've done to myself. It's like with other people, it's like they've moved on or they're not a part of my life anymore. I'm not as familiar with their current situation. I still run into issues like, last Friday, my mom wants to talk about what's going on in the church, and it's the same church that kicked me out at the end. So it's like, I don't necessarily, but it's been like 10 years now, it's been, how long have I been out of there? Since 2018. So 7 years, 8 years I've been out of there. And I still have my issues with but it's like a totally different church now. They've gone through 3 other pastors now because nobody seems to want to stick. I was the last long-term one that they had. And so I don't beat myself up for the past as much as I used to. I tend to beat myself up for current situations, like I shouldn't really have that attitude or something like that. And, oh yeah, that comes from, and I tend to beat myself up about my career choices, as you just heard. So yes, I can't do anything about them. So, yeah, people hated the Samaritans. To have a twin brother named Judas Thomas. Yeah, that's another rumor. Yeah, people hate Taylor Swift. Yeah, that's true. I don't have any religious hang out other than, hey, but I'm afraid of getting therapy for a couple, and one of them being, what if they're just going to push God on me? Yes, and you have to watch out for that, Blossom. That's why I tell you, I have a link in every one of my videos to recovery from religion, and you can request specifically you want a non-religious secular counselor, and they will happily provide that. But yeah, I get the apprehension, because I had the same apprehensions, because after me and my ex-wife, after the whole thing blew up at the church, we went to counseling, and the guy was a Christian Methodist, counselor. And my problem with that whole thing is he was really like, he had problems with my wife's emotional attitude, and he had legit like psychology creds too from secular universities, but he also had the religious side of things. And my problem with that is, like, I would mention I don't believe in God anymore, and he would just, at that point, he would get angry with me, and I'm like, dude, figure this out. So yeah, after that, when I finally did get a personal counsel, I went like, I don't want anybody that's religious. So yes, it is very hard to prove mixed emotions. The most Judaism probably couldn't care less, though, because they were busy surviving. That's probably also true. Yeah, I think, Brian, you can accept you need help. Like, and once you accept that you need help, that's a good first step. It's the hardest thing to get at past, because we all had this, people, especially in the West, like, people always tell you to pull yourself up. And it's like, you face situations you can't do by yourself. Okay. Like, as much as I lift weights, I'm not going out today and going to try to pick up 1,000 pounds on a barbell. I might grab a few friends, okay, and do that, but I'm not going to do it by myself. And that is also true in the case of mental issues, emotional issues. There's certain things that are just beyond our capability. And once you understand that and you accept that you need help, it's a big first step. So you can quit Tellier anytime. There you go. Yeah, Wolf Sinclair, Fluffle. You also need help about Taylor too. I don't know. I don't have any animosity towards Taylor Swift. So by the church and even by Valia, it took years to get out. I feel so much better now. Yes, me too. Hey, Earl. Good to see you. Americans can always emigrate to Europe. Yeah, we could. I thought about it, actually. But yes. Will happen which our Lord Naps is present. In ancient times, yeah, that's true. If I'm a religious therapist, they just keep it out of their job. I'm sure the same do. How do you know beforehand? Yeah, just don't have like, if they have some sort of credentialing from a religious organization on their wall, they're probably not even a real therapist. So okay, just FYI. So, was a sister kingdom of Judah. Judah went all monotheistic Yahweh, and Israel maintained some elements of polytheism. That's actually probably pretty good assessment. So, sorry, to late hellish drive from work. Had a nice day, though. New office, new old doc, nice old doc, nice patient, simple office, my kind of place. There you go. Hey, thanks, Cranky. Appreciate it. Thanks, says High Pack. See, every while, see, we have more evidence of Fang's existence than Yahweh does, to be honest. So there you go. But Fangs testifies to the fact that Yahweh exists, and he's a prick. So there you go. But yes, but I'm glad you found a good place to work, though. There we go. Israel began as a warrior tribe that concentrated on one God, and that was part of the pantheon, like Roman sovereignty. Yeah, there's a good case to be made that the thing about religion is it's all over the place in our pagan ancestry days. So you have to realize there's polytheism in place. Some people devote themselves to one god and become effectively monotheistic, but there's this mishmash. Like there's no good answers, but a lot of it is just my god's bigger than your god, tribalism kind of thing, and that's why you fight each other and prove it. So going through anger management, it's been pretty hard so far. Never realized how much baggage I still carried from ministry days. Do you deal with? Yeah. Um, how do I deal with it? It's why I started reading Stoic philosophy, where I can find a way to effectively deal with my emotions while at the same time trying to get a handle on my own. Anger is a very common emotion, especially when you feel like you've been wronged. I think I don't want to say I don't want to. I don't accept. I accept that some things are never going to have any justice to them that happened to me. So once you start accepting that, you kind of can deal with the emotions of it a little bit better. Like I feel like my last church kind of did me dirty in some ways too, and I take my blame in the side of that, but I realize that nothing's probably going to ever be done about it. So, I can, okay, what do I do with the anger about that? And that becomes the focus because I can't really get justice for it. So I still deal with some of that stuff, yes. And I've kind of learned to deal with it by accepting it. Like, okay, I am angry and I get angry. Okay. What do I do with the angry? So, yes. Hey, see you later, Kyle. Appreciate you stopping by. You can use it. You're not a member. You hop, therefore you are. Okay, there we go. That's a good one. But yes. uh, it's quite possible that the religion died and then a new thing happened. Like that's the whole thing with the tribalistic time period of that time period. Remember, it's like the archaeology is clarifying a few things, but at the same time, people's beliefs could have shifted very quickly. So, yeah, that's the other thing you deal with the emotional baggage. Stormburn is learning to focus on the positive. Like there are some positive things that have come out from leaving the faith. Like my anxiety level since leaving Christianity has dropped tremendously. Like I was always anxious. Am I good enough for God? I'm a pastor. I shouldn't be doing this stuff. There's this whole God's watching over my shoulder, making me feel guilty bullshit that's gone now. And my anxiety level and my depression levels dropped. And it's now other real things in life that affect me now, but I now know, okay, there's a real rational way of dealing with them or a real emotional way of dealing with them. And there's real things I can do to help, like dealing with my hypersensitivities so my nervous system doesn't get overloaded. All of a sudden I'm less anxious and less depressed. Weird. It's almost like your nervous system has a capacity that once it gets reached, it starts to malfunction and glitch. Okay, so yeah. So learning how to deal with that. How does Fangs feel about proselytizing? I don't know. I don't know that we need to because Fangs is such a cute deity. Like he proselytizes himself. Let's just give him a picture. This is the deity we serve. Oh, that's so cute. Like he's adorable. He probably answered by now. Oh, thanks, Eric. Appreciate that. Got that. Tyler Pam received a gifted membership. So congratulations. Welcome to the nation. Welcome, citizen. So spread the good news that there's no news. I just embrace the negative. I become one with the darkness, and I believe in a thing called love. There we go. See, and this is the thing about fangs. Okay, like there's a lot of positives to worshiping fangs. Like we try not, fangs tries not to be like other deities because, particularly Yahweh. Like he tries to be antithetical to Yahweh because Yahweh's a prick. So, and like it's like he tries to get out of that. Yes, there is no news to spread. Yes, they still find scarabs, but also Egypt ruled the Levant for like 200 and some years too. So in that strata, you find a lot of that crap too because it's they were in charge. That's one of the problematic things with the Exodus is supposedly when the Exodus is happening, they're going from Egypt to Egypt. So there you go. So we're embracing the negative, become one with the darkness. There you go. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, there's the influences. See, the religious thing back then, I think sometimes we Westerners and modern people don't get it, but it was such an integral part of their culture. And, if two nations were warring against each other, the gods were warring against each other too. And if one won against the other, then that proved one god was stronger. And, the constantly shifting sands of religion back then must have been amazing. So, a lot of, yeah. Just read the good news. But proselytization, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's the enemy god was evil, a devil, etc., and then your god was the good guy. Religion is tribalism expressed sometimes. Like you don't like these people because they got better stuff than you, so you want to justify taking their stuff. So, well, they worship bad gods is a legit excuse back then to go to fight. So, yeah, that's also a theory. But now they've kind of dismissed Moses' existence as being even possible. So, like, he's a conglomerate mythological character among a lot of scholarship now. Like, even some of the conservative fundamentalist Jewish scholars are like, yeah, Moses might be something else, but he's not, possibly not a real person. So it's gotten to that point where people are like, see you later, Philbert. Thanks for the music as always. Good stuff. But yeah, the whole interesting thing about the Bible when you start studying it this way, like I get there's some like disagreement in the chat, but you need to understand this disagreement is made possible because you don't have to like believe it anymore. Like you don't have to, you're trying to figure it out, right? You're trying to figure out what was really going on. And I find that situation fascinating. Like I look at the prophets now completely different. Like the prophets are propagandists. Like they're usually attached to some king or queen or against some king or queen at the time. And so that's the way they speak what they do. And when the prophecies don't take place, it's because they back the wrong horse, political horse, so to speak. So okay, so proselytization is beneath fangs, a lab in which Inat feels compelled to make her artistic chick tracks. Oh, that's great. Oh, is that true, Earl? Oh, I don't know, Fangs. uh, are you okay with taking on Earl? Because yeah, they don't agree about that. Coveting fields is prohibited by the Ten Commandments. Yeah, you can and you can't. Yes, I get it. I don't know. No, the elder God is here. He's just The thing about it, like, I've noticed that some of you disappear in chat, and then I have to switch it to live chat, and oh, there you come back again. I get everybody's comments, so StreamYard records all the comments, even the ones that are deleted or blocked later. I still have them. I can react to them live. So she looks grumpy. It doesn't tell me much because she always looks grumpy. Oh, thanks. Oh, but yes. But yeah, I don't think we need to proselytize. I think Fangs sells himself like just by being a cute rabbit. What else do you need? Cute bunny. It was funny because I was on another stream somewhere and I posted a comment and one of the people, I think it was Jasmine. Oh, Fangs. Like, is that Fangs? And then like, I haven't seen you on my channel ever and you know about Fangs. So, so, because my avatar is Fangs too. So it's like, so slowly hops away from the lap. There we go. Okay. Just be careful. Fangs, just be careful. You may be a demigod, but be careful. There are some powers of darkness that I fear enough not to anger the lap in which you nap. So there you go. But correct ourselves now. Yeah, I think that's the key. Triple E, moving on, is correcting yourself now. It's resolving to be a better person from this moment forward. You can't do anything about the past. So, but you can look on your past with a little bit of pride if you resolve to make some better choices now. So. He took a dump in Yahweh's sock drawer. It's probably true. A little pellet poop. There you go. Oh my gosh. But yes, Triple I get you. You're definitely, the internal critique is usually the brutalist. I think people don't blame me for crap I did as much as I blame myself. So trying to find better ways to do things, aka my channel. Oh, you embrace the darkness. She is the darkness. Okay. So you are already careful. I'm glad, because I want to keep you around and her around. And I can't imagine Fangs and IKE going to war with each other. That would be bad. There you go. Oh my goodness. Fangs can multiply at will. I imagine billions of rabbits they could dump in a sock drawer. Okay, yes, that's probably true. Life is to learn how to unlearn. Yes, I have had to unlearn a bunch. So there you go. My cousin shared a secret with me that he was poly. I told him about our cult. He sounds interested. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Fangs was the most poly LGBTQ god there is. So you can denounce Fangs all you want. It doesn't really do anything. In fact, I think you might kind of think it's fun. So, oh my goodness. There you go. Yeah. Well, there we go. There we go. Oh, you find that kinky? You find it being denounced kinky? I can see that. Disassociation? Probably. I think everybody does. I guess I would ask specifically what you mean. Like, what experiences are you talking about? Because that can take a lot of different forms. Yeah, it's a kinky thing for Fangs. But yes, but I think everybody, like, I know my early days of my deconversion, probably. Like there's all kinds of things that could be. There we go. Oh, okay. The self seem other, and yes, of course. Like, I don't think you do a major worldview change like that and not experience some disassociation. Like, my RTS doesn't allow me to go into church buildings without an incredible amount of anxiety anymore. Like, um, and I have, like, with my family, sometimes we get into discussions, and I'm like, I don't feel like I'm a part of this anymore. Like, when my mother wants to talk about church and what's going on at church, yeah, I experience that quite a bit. Like, I don't want to deal with it. Self, I've had a lot of moments where I like, that's how I used to be. I'm not like that anymore. I think it's just a common thing when you make a major shift. Like, my worldview has shifted quite a bit on a lot of issues. And yeah, yeah, agreed. Yeah, but I think people going through deconversion, though, Blossom, are going to experience that a lot more because a lot of the things that you used to anchor your understanding of reality with are gone, and you're trying to research for those anchors. So it's like it happens. We're just currently married. Did you know? Yeah, isn't that a weird one? Like, because I love some of the different like a cappella groups like Pentatonics and a few others, Home Free and all those guys. And it's like they'll do religious tunes, and at that point, it's like I don't resonate with that anymore. Like it can be annoying and angering at times. So music is one of the things that'll get my emotions going on this issue, Stormburn, quicker than anything else. Like there are some good tune there. Unlike some, I think there were some Christian rock musicians that had talent, and they did some songs that I consider good musical songs, but it's like I can't listen to them because it's like it makes me angry. I get it. So the point in his journey, I don't like spinach anymore. What's wrong with me? Am I the same person? Yes, you can't have that. Yeah, I know you're not trying to be funny. So it's more of a, but I get it. But when somebody makes a major life worldview shift, that feeling is probably going to come up a lot more. I would understand that it's normal, not just being a human living life, but also with when you're leaving faith, there's a lot more of it because what used to anchor your understanding of reality is gone, and you're trying to find new anchors. So you fear lightning bolts. Yeah, I get it. And sometimes I will catch myself thinking, "I'm feelings." I'll stop and say, "Wait, yeah, I don't agree with that shit. It feels like an old self, but it's not you anymore." I get that. Like I'll get into those holes too. This is normal. Don't. I tell people when they deconvert, change and disassociation, I would say is pretty normal. So it's kind of it's definitely something you get used to the more you go through the process because you're still trying to figure out. Like I spent a lot of time trying to figure out who I was, and I still do. Like because I'm constantly changing. Like we're all as human beings constantly changing. We're not the same person we were yesterday. So it's like and coming to terms with that. So and at some point you change enough where it's like, man, I don't even resonate with that idea anymore. So you know, like the one sung to children, "Oh Holy Night." Yes. Hey, Jazz. Good to see you. And thank you. I'm glad you like the vibe. I try to be low key. Prophet Azab once said that I was kind of chill. Like I call myself the rabid atheist, but actually I'm kind of chill. I think the only time you'll see me get rabid is when I get Christian theists who don't want to give me information that I request. So that's usually what happens. Incoming. There we go. Do I was very confused because they were like, did you know? Or was it like, what the heck is did you know? Like Christian music fangs. Jesus for birthday. You hate to compete for Jesus for birth. Yeah, I know Earl hates to do that. She hates to compete with Christmas for birthday presents. So yes, we have new acolytes. By the way, all you have to do to become is I've told everybody wherever you're at, you are now whatever religious title you want for fangs. Just like pick it up. The lap of which our Lord naps is held by Earl, and I am the Grand Master of the Fluffle. So that's my title. So I came up on Halloween. That one was given to me, and I said, that's great. I'm just going to call myself the Grand Master of the Fluffle from now on. So, and of the Church of Fangs. So there you go. Yeah, it's here. Not as bad at night, though. I've noticed one of the things they've done for us workers at night is they stay away from Christian music because I know we're a captive audience. So, hey, Robin, good to see you. I appreciate people sharing their experience. I relate to what people are saying. And I also had a week or two that were debilitating, felt constantly distracted, deoriented. Yes. So, yes, the Grand High Wizard. That's another way of putting it, Evan. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of Mariah Carey anymore. Thank you, retail. So there you go. Like Christmas by law, but most Christmas music is okay. Yeah, I can see that. He's already dealing with Yahweh. Like, what are you going to do? Curious because when I like the Christmas music. Curious because when I was going, I hated most of it, and It's a Wonderful Life is still my favorite Christmas music. Yeah, I mean, there, I, it, yeah, there. I think I can still get into because we are coming into the Christmas season, and I feel that I work retail, so I absolutely feel what a lot of you are feeling because I'm like, because I've got this hat thing going on, that I do, and every once in a while I introduce a new hat, and I'm like, I don't have anything for Christmas season or the holiday season for hats, so I'm gonna have to look for one that'll be worthy of a reveal and worthy of your money to vote for me to put on my head. So, but I get it. Between retail and being a deconverted Christmas has a lot of difficulties for me. But so, yes, Fangs has no haters. I ain't got no haters. There you go. If you can catch them, and nobody's caught him yet. So, Christmas specialty music, it just makes me cranky. Like, not that all is actually bad, but it's just much overload for ages before and after. Yes, I think it's overdone, but it's also the highest grossing money making holiday in America for sure, not around the world in some respects. So, I was born broken and covered in poo or vomit, as the case might be. There you go. Yeah. What? Fangs has been here before. Evan Fangs has been here before. Yeah. Fangs has definitely been here before. Fangs shows up in streams whenever they feel like it. Understand? Fangs comes when they want to. So. Yeah, I understand. Let's see. Yeah, I don't understand that either. like, I think it's why, like, Walmart policy, they just announced this a couple days ago. Like, we can have our vests off at night because there's no customers in the store. And for me, that's a boon because I move shelves and stuff around. And it can be hot, sweaty work at times, and I just don't want to have the vest on too, and it gets caught on shit. But then they also, like, if you want to have your music, you can have one earpiece in, but you have to have another ear open so you can hear what's around you. I think that's just like most employees in Walmart do it. There's still certain places like running powered equipment you can't have them in, or inside the coolers you can't have them in, which I don't understand that one, but because I've worked inside a cooler many, many years. Thanksgiving all on a roll is brutal. I wish holidays were more spread out. Late years draining emotionally and financially. Yes, it is. It's on purpose, by the way, probably. Have you ever noticed how funny the Tower of Babel story is? Getting at a matter or a tower and causing the nightmare strange to the well, it gets even more funny when the fact that God doesn't seem to have a problem with it now. Like, I think we've done several things, JS, far more significant in reaching into the heavens than a tower. So, like, regular airplane flights that are taller than most towers these days, even ancient ones, I would say that, the new ones, it's like, yeah, why doesn't God have a trouble with that? Okay. But yes, it seems, it's kind of petty, really, but then that's Yahweh, as Fangs will attest. So, one of my favorite moments is visiting Starbucks and hearing cooking them all. Okay, you don't like constricting or otherwise annoying clothes while doing super physical jog? Yeah, I know. Gasp. Like, I prefer my shorts and my t-shirt and let me do my job. So, black and red Santa hat. Oh, I'll have to look it up, Wolf. I do want something with bunny ears, but bunny ears tend to be connected with, like, Easter. I'm going to have a blast finding something for Easter. Like, the Holy Bunny hat came out of an Easter thing, I think. So, but yes, I'm trying to find something Christmassy, like holiday seasony, for a new hat. So I don't want to break the bank buying new hats. So, a Playboy Santa hat, that might work. When I worked at a sushi restaurant, folks would always send me to walk in because they're like, how do you, that cold ton, I hate it in there. I used to work in a cooler. Like, frozen dairy deli, meat department. I was a meat department manager at the store I work at when they still had meat department managers. Now meat and produce is all under one team lead. So, but, like, I used to work inside the meat cooler throwing, boxes of prepackaged beef, pork, and chicken, that came off a truck. People still were under the illusion that we do all that work there in the back room, and that's just not what happens. So, things like apologetic from a timeline not adding up. They don't want to go in themselves. Wow. One thing about apologizing, Bible verse, like, no, we work the lifts, so I have to keep the vest. We aren't allowed to have earbuds and a speaker. Yes, because if you're working all the power tools, you can't do that. But the rest of us on the floor, like, I'm glad for that because, like, if I have to listen to Walmart radio all night long, I would go mad. So that's when I put something on like YouTube and have Mindshift talk to me 4 videos in a row or something like that. And then I'll throw my music in and all that other stuff. So, it's clogs up in fronts. Hey, Dade, excuse me. There we go. Good to see you, Dade. Glad you stopped by. I appreciate it. Fangs, Fangs, you have fur. I mean, I'm sure that helps you deal with the cold a little bit better. Definitely a nighttime deity. I would have to say with the black coloring as a rabbit, you must be one of the nocturnal versions of rabbits that come out at night. So you can't be seen in the dead of winter. Yes, I still wear my shorts all year long. People ask me about that, and it's like, once I get inside the store is heated, and there are places in the store, even in the winter, that way too warm for me. So, yeah, it's a common problem. Refrigerators and freezers, you walk in, like, God damn it, I got to go to the bathroom. Happens all the time. So, yeah, somehow Fangs comes out at night. See, that's what I'm saying. You're a nocturnal rabbit. Like, if you're a white bunny, I would assume you're a snow rabbit, like you're above the Arctic Circle constantly. And the gray and ones that are a little bit more earthy tones are the ones that come out during the day. So, in more temperate climates. So, what troubled me the most about Christianity back when I believed, the poor state of apologetics, even back then. Okay, it's like my largest troubling thing about Christianity from the time I hit seminary in my mid 20s onward was the lack of evidence for Christianity. Like, it became an obsession. It's why I am an atheist today. Like, back then, now, if you wanted, what troubled me the most is the lack of love for outsiders. Like, I think there were several teachings of Jesus that make it like, yeah, do good for your enemies. Yeah, they don't do that. Okay, there's a lot of, yeah, I think I could sum it up in one word, the hypocrisy. But the most troubling thing for me as like a biblical scholar was the sad state of apologetics. Like, every time an apologetic argument would be created, it would be debunked. And I could debunk it myself sometimes. And it's like, no, this just isn't a good argument. And if you're trying to hold on to your faith, that's not a good situation to be in. So, I just wear my jean shorts. It does. Some of them do. Some rabbits, because yeah, it's funny, skeptic, that you asked me about rabbits, because as Earl would say, we autistic people go down our research rabbit holes, pun intended. But I've studied rabbits because of this whole fangs thing, because I'm getting my inspiration from bunnies right now in writing my book. And yeah, coloring of rabbits can change during the seasons too, but it depends on the variety of rabbit. Like, if some rabbits are always mostly in the snow all the time, they keep their white coat. Some rabbits are nocturnal, so they have darker colorings. So it really depends on the environment and their behavior patterns. It's evolution in action, really, very much so. So, hey, no problem. The hip hoppers. Okay, there we go. Oh my gosh. Hip hopcracy. That's good. See, this is the thing, Fangs. The rabbit jokes are great. Oh. Why do you always think that this is about you, Asho? Why do you always think it's about you? Oh my goodness. Oh, now you're forcing me to do it. You're forcing me to do it. There we go. Hi, Asho. The cutest hellhound ever. It's always about the diva in you. There you go. Oh my gosh. Oh, in the fridge. What is there when you open it? Oh, I did it. I did it. Yes. Laughing which I laugh. Currently on today with YouTube shorts on rabbit nature videos. I approve. I hate you too, asshole. Oh my gosh. the inside joke on that one is going to always be funny. It's almost as good as land rights for gay land whales. That one's going to live forever too. Poor JL. He's never going to live that one down. Oh my goodness. You got to have the gay whales one here. Hold on. Yeah, the rights for gay land whales and seals, just saying. There you go. There we go. Between the hellhound and the gay land whale citizenship, I'm sure those two will never die. Oh my goodness. Oh, you haven't seen this one? Here, I'll make it bigger. Oh, yes. This is an old one, actually. I don't know. I don't know if Earl's cleaned this one up yet, but this is another one of my favorites. This one comes out of Earl's birthday bash, I think, from last year. So it's almost been a year old now. Oh my God. Getting closer. Seals are food, not citizens. Hearsay, I say. Okay, there you go. But yes, there you go. Yeah, it could be negative too. But yes, I've been studying rabbits, because of this. Like, I know more about rabbits and bunnies than I ever wanted to know, I think. So snail rights too. You're going after snail rights, whale rights, and seal rights, and okay, all right. Yeah, if she has updated this one, I think this is one of the ones where I don't know if I have the updated version. I have so much artwork from Earl now. I'm going to have to come up with a different system of categorizing it. I'm going to have to literally go through my file of Earl artwork and put it into other files because I've finally got enough where it's like it's a problem finding what I want, and I'm going to have to recategorize it into some file cabinets and keep it all together because it's gotten legion. It's just so much stuff. But this one's still one of my favorites. I laugh at it all the time. I can't see. You're right. I don't have my reading glasses on. That's why I'm sitting. I just have to sit back far from my screen to see stuff. So yeah, you got to admit, like this, let's take a look. Does that not look a little bit like a snail too? Like, it's hard to tell. It's a seal, but kind of looks like a snail too. It's a snail. There we go. Wallace raised the damn dust, leave a mark. Speaking from experience, are we, Cranky? It's a snail. I don't know. It could be a snail. It could be a snail. That's possible. I can't see worth a damn either up close. So I am blind. Up close, I'm blind. Like, especially if I got my contacts or my glasses on, I can't see a damn thing up close. The distance vision is great, though. Like, they nailed my prescription on these contacts for distance. That's for damn sure. It's the clearest vision I've had in years, distance-wise. But the moment I get within 4 feet, it starts to get bad. It starts to get blurry. You need a new adventure? I tell you what, you could inspire Earl to give me some art from future stories that I haven't written about, because it might actually inspire the story. Like, just go nuts. Just, pick a Bible story and do some artwork that represents a story, and I'll put words to it. When we get there, like, there's like 20 stories I'm doing in chapter, so pick one. do that. There's plenty of them. Heck, I'll even change the chapters in the book if it's a good image. Like, go nuts. Too, and my eyes were supposedly good. So there you go. See, I'm not the only one. Okay, all right. So we've cleaned everything up. Time for a new adventure. All right, well, there we go. Yeah, I mean, like, see, like, we've got like Moses and the 10 plagues. I mean, you've got plenty of just look up children's Bible stories. Just inspire to look up children's Bible stories and go, okay, how would I represent this in a piece of artwork? I think it would be great. And then I can look at the photo and go, you know what? Let's figure out how to put a story around. I do that all the time. Like, I will see a picture and just write a story around it just for the hell of it. So, well, there you go. True. How God has sex to create himself. Yeah, that's kind of good. That's a good one. I mean, we have official canon doctrine on Mary and such. So, but yes, there's plenty of stuff. I mean, you could pick all kinds of stories from the Bible and just make a piece of art with fangs involved. And I will put words that'll make that story make sense, sort of. So, and Fangs bit a carrot and stuck it up his ass. I'm sure that has happened. Fangs is kind of like that. Oh my gosh. The larger Halloween piece. Okay, hold on. I thought I did. Where you at? Maybe I did not. Well, hold on. I don't think I did. It would have been in my file if I had. Oh, there we go. Let's see. Yes, this is a good one. This is the, I don't think I have shown the larger Halloween piece yet. So let me do that. Here we go. There we go. This is the larger Halloween piece. I think I showed the smaller one, but I do not think I showed the larger one. See you later. See you later, Evan. Moses no looking into the face of God. No. Do some nativity scenes. There you go. Yeah, it's got the same haircut, but it's the larger picture now of the whole scene. So I kind of like some of the stuff in the background is hilarious. The skeletons are hilarious. Yeah, it's a time thing. Like, yeah, you got to understand that Fangs has objections now to time travel. So, because usually when he time travels, he's drunk and something happens that's not exactly good for everybody. So, so that's kind of how he does it. But yes, but there it is. That is the I gave you during Halloween. I gave you the smaller version, but the lovely, ever wonderful "I Killed Earl." I also think this is. I think this is the first time up in the one corner she has used her signature, so that this is an authentic piece of "I Killed Earl's" Fangsolatry. So yes, he hops across the time stream. Like he created he takes full responsibility for accidentally creating Christianity, or at least Jesus. So that's why this one has Jesus saying "Dad," because there's that aspect of the mythology too. So Fangs was drunk at a party in the '60s with President Kennedy and Marilyn Monroe, and things happened, and he had to take care of a zygote and move it to somebody else, and got drunk and went back in time and gave it to a young Jewish lady, and thus Jesus was born. So you're the third bird from the left. Yeah, probably. Yeah, Fangs has an alcohol problem, I think. But this is full of rabbit shit, yes. But yes, the times he's time traveled, he's also been drunk, and things haven't worked out well. So yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, Fangs, about all the stuff I get from Earl. My file folder, all the stuff I have from Earl is also kind of a clusterfuck as well. I'm going to have to figure out a way to get this stuff organized because I have enough of a backlog over this last year of Earl art that it's like, I want to use this, I want to use that. So yeah, but there's definitely, like, I'm going to hold on to this one for next Halloween. So, but definitely. Plus, there's a story here too that me and Earl have talked about. So, like Fangs and his own white rabbit problem. So, yeah, we've had conversations about that. So, but yes, it's a difficult thing. There's like a lot of Earl artwork floating around. But I was absolutely tripped out that I was on a random stream where I normally don't. It's somebody I admire, and I typed it in, and Fangs. I'm like, yes, Fangs. So, yeah, because I have a Fangs avatar too. So there you go. You're new to this live, Godwin? Yeah. Well, I'm about to close out. Actually, I want to let you know that because I got to get ready for work. It's my Friday coming up, and I will be on Saturday. And Saturday streams tend to go a little longer because I have more time. So, but I'm going to have to bug out here in about 5 minutes. So, because I got to get ready for work. But yeah, just subscribe, and the next live stream will be Saturday. I think actually I'm planning a Q&A on that one where I may answer questions regarding whatever people want to ask, but I also have some issues to deal with from this week, from some comments that were left and now deleted. So Stormbird knows of what I speak. So that might be, so yes, another acolyte. We have many acolytes of Fangs. So Fangs is our made up deity to illustrate some of the absurdity of religion. So, but yes, but Saturday I will be on. And I'm usually on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So Thursday is Deconversion Hangout. So if you're deconverting or want to learn more about it or about how to help people deconverting, then this is that one. So, but yes, Fangs is around. Shows up for some streams, doesn't for others. Depends on his mood. So I could do that. That's actually, I could ask you questions. That might be a different one, John. Like I could ask questions that I don't have answers for. So I have a lot of, I'm trying to learn to debate. Yeah, it's a learned skill. I kind of take a very compassionate anti-theist because I used to be a theist. So I kind of take an approach of trying to understand where people are at. So, but yeah, I'm going to have to cut out though, but that's a very good idea, John. I may have to think about that. I'm trying to figure out what exactly I'm trying to do there Saturday. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I've got some comments to address and, and then figured I would just open the floor for other stuff and talk there. So, but yeah, trying to learn how to approach this where you can talk to people without getting yelled at. So, but I'm going to call it a night. So, seeing Fangs is here. He's better now. I'm not sure about that. Not sure I'm better. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know if Fangs eats meat. The fangs are usually to remove religious corruption from vegetables. So just suck that shit out and spit it out, poop it out, actually, probably. So, but yes. All right. Well, thanks everybody for stopping by. May fangs richly bless all of you. May you never know the corruption of religion in your vegetables, thanks to maybe a little. Okay, there we go. Now we have the official words. But thanks everybody for stopping by. I appreciate all the donors tonight. We had Fred earlier with his donation, and Triple E and Eric both with gifted memberships. Some of you received that, and Cranky, thanks you, all of you guys. Appreciate your support of the channel. It really does my heart good to see some support along those lines. But once again, may Fangs, the occasional bug. Okay. Good night, all everybody. See you later, Reverb. But everybody, thank you for stopping by. If you're going to protect your stash, make sure you leave a circumcised carrot on top of your stash. Fangs prefers those over the stash sometimes. Sometimes. There's no guarantee with such rituals, as any religious person with rituals would tell you. So nom and all that. And as always, folks, live your best life. You only get one go around and then it's over. So make sure you take all your time, your money, your opportunities, and give them to yourself, the people you love and care for, and to make this a better world. You'd be happier if you do. And don't waste them on the trappings of religion and faith, because that's a dead end. I speak from experience. And as always, folks, thanks for stopping by, and I will catch all of you next time on Saturday, and we'll see what we'll be doing then when we get there. See you then.
It's time to take a